What if I told you that a small nickel from 1968 could unlock a secret history of American resilience, Cold War tensions, and hidden treasure that collectors are still chasing today? Welcome to a forgotten chapter in the Jefferson Nickel legacy. This is not just a coin, it's a time capsule. In 1968, the United States was a nation in turmoil and transformation. The Vietnam War was intensifying. Civil rights protests swept the streets. The world was watching America through a divided lens. Amid all this historic change, the United States Mint continued its everyday task of producing coinage. One of those coins was the Jefferson Nickel struck in 1968. To most people, this nickel was pocket change. But behind it lies a deep story of American design, evolution, minting technology, economic response, and collector significance that few truly know. The Jefferson Nickel, first introduced in 1938, was created to honor the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson. Designed by Felix Schlag, the nickel featured a left-facing portrait of Jefferson on the obverse and his Monticello estate on the reverse. This design remained largely untouched until decades later. But by 1968, something was different. Following a coin shortage in the mid-1960s triggered by a silver crisis and rising coin hoarding, Congress authorized a dramatic shift in coin production. The mint stopped producing silver coins for circulation and ramped up nickel and copper coinage. Coin collectors were blamed for shortages, so mint marks were removed from coins starting in 1965. For 3 years, nickels, quarters, and dimes bore no mint marks at all. But in 1968, mint marks returned, and that return would make all the difference. The 1968 Jefferson Nickel was struck at 3 mints: the main Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, which used the D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint, which re-entered circulation coinage with its S mint mark. San Francisco had transitioned largely to producing proof coins by the 1970s, but in 1968, the S mint Jefferson Nickel was struck for circulation, and proof strikes both. This makes 1968 the first year in which modern-style San Francisco proof coins became a major part of collector sets. The regular strike coins included 1968 with no mint mark from Philadelphia, 1968D from Denver, and the rare and coveted 1968S for circulation and proof from San Francisco. What collectors realized is that not all nickels are created equal. The 1968D saw massive production with over 91 million pieces minted. The Philadelphia nickel had a slightly higher mintage than previous years, but the spotlight was on the 1968S, especially the proof version. These proof nickels were minted in mirror-like finish with extra care and detail. They came in special collector sets sold directly to the public. Each set was a carefully crafted masterpiece, and the Jefferson Nickel inside had precision not found in regular coinage. These proof nickels are still available today in pristine condition, but what excites collectors most are those with cameo or deep cameo finishes, where Jefferson's portrait appears frosty against a mirror background. But even among regular strikes, valuable rarities and errors emerged. Some 1968 nickels display full steps on the Monticello reverse, indicating a strong and clean strike. These full steps nickels are highly sought after because most nickels from that period were weakly struck. A full steps 1968D, or especially a full steps 1968S, can fetch significant premiums in the collector market. These coins often appear at auctions and are graded by services like PCGS or NGC, where designations like MS65 or higher add value exponentially. Another key area is error coins. Off-center strikes, double dies, and clipped planchets can turn an ordinary 1968 nickel into a rare variety. Double die obverse examples where Jefferson's profile or lettering appears doubled are among the most thrilling finds. There are even coins with repunched mint marks or rotated dies. These error coins are treasures that carry stories of mechanical imperfections and human oversight. Beyond the numismatic appeal, the 1968 Jefferson Nickel is a reminder of changing times. It emerged during an era where America was questioning its identity, struggling with war, and redefining its economy. Coins from this time were the physical representations of that uncertainty. The nickel itself contained no silver and was made of 75% copper and 25% nickel. It represented a nation adapting to scarcity and necessity. The legacy of the Jefferson Nickel continued into the 21st century when the Westward Journey Nickel series introduced a new image of Jefferson and honored the Lewis and Clark expedition. Yet many collectors still prefer the classic Felix Schlag design, and 1968 stands as a pivotal year that links the old era of minting with the more modern methods. Collectors today seek 1968 Jefferson nickels not just for value, but for history. Whether it is a brilliant proof with mirror fields, a high-grade Denver strike with full steps, or a rare error variety, each coin is a unique piece of the past. The coin may weigh only 5 grams, but its historical weight is immense. As the years pass, these coins become harder to find in uncirculated condition. Circulated examples can still be found in gems are increasingly rare. Professional grading and preservation have become vital. A single MS-67 Full Steps 1968 S nickel has sold for over $1,000, showing how condition and rarity shape value. There is also the emotional value. For baby boomers, the 1968 nickel represents a childhood memory. For historians, it is a piece of the larger puzzle of post-war America. For numismatists, it is a challenge of the hunt. The 1968 Jefferson Nickel crosses boundaries of economics, history, design, and culture. It is small but significant. This coin is no longer just a coin. It is a message from a past era. When you hold it, you touch history. When you study it, you understand America. And when you collect it, you preserve a legacy. The story of the 1968 Jefferson Nickel is far from over. Each year, more discoveries are made. More coins are graded. More errors are found. More collections are built. And every collector adds a new chapter to its legacy. So, if you find a 1968 nickel in your pocket, look again. You may just be holding a hidden treasure that has traveled through time to tell its story to you. In classrooms, vending machines, banks, and homes, the 1968 nickel quietly served its duty. Children placed them into coin folders. Soldiers carried them overseas. Mothers dropped them into grocery counters. These small, everyday moments gave the coin life. But decades later, these same nickels tell much larger stories about where America was headed and what values it chose to preserve. From a design standpoint, the 1968 nickel maintained the original Schlag motifs, but those dies were aging. Jefferson's features became flatter. Monticello lost detail. This is why sharp strikes are so coveted from this year. Some numismatists believe that the mint began reworking dies toward the end of 1968 to improve quality, leading to better full steps examples near the year's final production months. The study of these coins is called die state analysis. It reveals how coins evolve during production. Early die states tend to show crisp detail. Late die states show fatigue, loss of detail, and even cracks. Die cracks and die polish lines are sometimes visible on 1968 nickels. These markers help experts trace the history of specific coin batches and even reconstruct how long certain dies were used. Coin rolls sealed from the 1960s and never opened can contain surprises. Some hoarders kept nickel rolls as a hedge against inflation. Today, opening an original bank roll of 1968 nickels is like time traveling. Inside may be gem-quality coins untouched for decades. Dealers and collectors often pay a premium for original rolls, especially from Denver or San Francisco, where mintmark and strike variations are more common. It's important to remember that every coin tells two stories. One is about the nation that made it. The other is about the people who used it. The 1968 Jefferson Nickel is no exception. It was minted in a time of riots, assassinations, and political upheaval. Yet it was also an age of moon landings, hope, and progress. Holding a 1968 nickel is like holding that tension between fear and possibility. Modern collectors are finding new ways to study and appreciate the 1968 nickel. High-resolution digital microscopes help examine full steps. Social media allows sharing discoveries instantly. Online auctions create global markets for rare pieces. Young collectors are entering the hobby, bringing fresh energy and questions. Some even specialize only in nickels from the 1960s, building collections around this fascinating and underappreciated decade. Museums, numismatic associations, and historical archives all preserve these coins for public knowledge. The American Numismatic Association hosts seminars and exhibitions where Jefferson nickels, including the 1968 series, are studied and displayed. Scholars analyze metallurgical content, minting processes, and circulation data to reconstruct full historical contexts. This elevates the 1968 nickel from an object to a story, and from a story to a legacy.